Las Vegas review show, baby. Yes, absolute. There's a bit of carnage out there. Was there's some disappointing games maybe shouldn't have been part of this opposition, should have been something else. Roger Tuafasa-Sheck, there's only one answer for the Warriors. He's got to go to fullback, no doubt about it. Is Webster in trouble if he does not make this change soon? Because it was absolute disastrous the way the Warriors played on Sunday. Ricky Stuart, the genius, was always going to win after that scuffle. Cleary proves that he is the all-time great, and proving Cam Smith wrong. He doesn't believe he's a 10 out of 10 yet. Well, you must be smoking, because he is the gun. No doubt about it, he is the gun. But he does have some merit though, Cameron Smith. He hasn't dominated Origin, but I'm sure that is coming this season. Let's get to it. Let's rock and roll. Yes, is it time for the move to change? Let's get to it though here. At your number one show, the Barry Charles Footy Show. Let's get to it. Welcome back, guys and gals. Rugby League Central right here now, and Vegas is hot. Hot, hot. But was one day affair the best way to go about it? I don't think so. I think it should have been a 2-day event in my opinion. But anyway, that's how they rocked. And wow, what an absolute dud of a game. Jillaroo versus England. This should never have happened. An absolute joke of a game. 19 points to 4. You are kidding me. What can replace it? Well, clearly for me, you could see New South Wales versus Queensland Origin women. That would be one answer. But do you think you're really going to get the numbers there? How about Māori and Indigenous? Yes, bring the All-Stars game and bring it to Vegas, baby. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting twist on where that will end up in the plan. So, yes, and this is where it all gets, when you can end. I'll add Samoa and Tonga. Yes, Samoa and Tonga, folks. This is where you could build the game more. So just giving you context of what maybe potentially in 2026 Vegas looks like. I'd have Bulldogs versus Parramatta, just that old rivalry, put them together. And you can put it around Crichton and Addo. Then you look at the Cowboys, bringing the theme of the Dallas Cowboys. So we had the Warriors last season. This year, I don't think they did much with that. They had the Golden State Warriors. They could have done a bit more push there, get Steph Curry involved. That's where NRL needs to take the next step to go to the elite level. So if you had some more in Tonga, you can have players like Jerome Luai, Spencer Lee, Brian Tohu, Jason Tomalolo and the likes. Obviously, people that play for their club will not be able to play for their country in this instance, like a Crichton, for example, if that was the case. But how exciting would that be, having those players livening up the football? And if it was Indigenous and Māori, you could have the likes of Ponga, Gagai, Tapani. That would be outstanding. So this is what I would do for next season. I'll split into 2 days. And you could have, first off, you would have, let's say, the Bulldogs Parramatta game. And then the next game would be like Indigenous and the Māoris. So that gets all the hype, hoopla, gets that out there. And then really get into the action for the Sunday, where you can have the Titans versus the Cowboys, again, the Dallas Cowboys theme going, have them going, and then have the likes of the Big, the Rock, having Jason Momoa, have those types of celebrities involved in this thing, and it'll go to the stratosphere. You could also argue you could have England and France, or a game like that, or even put USA in there. That's another one you could put in there instead of an Indigenous match, if you weren't going to put a women's team in there. But that's what you would do, or clearly have the Queensland versus New South Wales women's team on the first day. That's how I would be looking into the future of the thing. But let's get to it anyway. Let's get to the Rugby League. Yes. So first off, we had the Wigan and Warrington. Dupree, yes, the nephew of Super Bowl winner, got the first try in the game. But what was the game? It was all one-way traffic. Not as bad as the Jillaroos, but just about bad enough. Wigan bolting, leading about 38-0 before the scores changed. But how good was Bevan French? Wouldn't you love to see him back in the NRL? He was a gun player and still could be a gun player in the NRL. But Smith as well at number 7, very good. It was just way too good. The Jillaroos game, there's nothing to write home about. It's absolutely ridiculous. 90 points to 4. It was just an absolute waste of time. It was like putting, let's put it this way, it's like putting a third world country team against the number one country in the world. That was pretty much what it was like. Even though England's not a third world country, but in terms of how many quality of games England ladies have had against the women, it was just madness. It should have been New Zealand if you were going to make it a fair dinkum contest. That was a joke. Absolute joke of a game. Yes, it was. Absolutely. But yes, the Raiders and Warriors. Yes, what? I just want to get it out of the air. Let's just do it now. Roger Tuafasa-Sheck needs to be fullback, folks. Yes. Roger Tuafasa-Sheck needs to be fullback for the Warriors if they're any hope in 2025. He is just about their best player, if not their best player, and he's playing out of position on the wing. He was carved up on the wing. He's not a winger. He's a fullback. He's getting older. He's gun fullback. He needs to be there instead of Nickel Crockstad. Nickel Crockstad's a solid player. Roger Tuafasa-Sheck is a gun player. There's a difference. They need Sheck at the back. He will do the Dylan Edwards. He'll do the James Tedesco type plays. Let's say he doesn't have to pass out the back. He doesn't need to have to pass out the back. He just needs to run those meters. And the Warriors need to go right up the middle. I don't know what is up with them trying to go sideways. They've got to go boom, boom, boom up the middle, and then the flash plays out the back after. Luke Metcalf was all at sea. Let's get it. If Chanel Harris-Tavita wasn't in the team, they would have lost by more. If the Raiders went down the other side where Roger Tuafasa-Sheck and Addin Pompey more times, they would have scored more tries and would have won by a bigger score as well. So it was disappointing, but getting back to the Raiders, I want to say this, Raiders were good as well. Don't say the Warriors were super bad. They were bad, but the Raiders were impressive. Their first half especially. They really rocketed to it. They went, and Ricky Stuart getting all the guts and glory out of them. There were some big game players in this game. Corey Horsburgh, what a game. So many others. But let's get to it. What were some of the actual takeaways from this game in terms of what happened? So in the first half, it was about 65% to the Raiders and 1 point. But it's even up by the end of the match. So the Warriors had no excuse. They had their chances with the ball in the end, but they just could not get it done. Interesting, 68% completion rate compared to 76% of the Warriors. So the Raiders 68%, and they won the game comfortably. Does that mean they at least put a bit more into the attack? I think so. The Raiders ran for 250 more meters. They had 6 line breaks to 2, the Raiders. So whatever way you look at it, it's just more double offloads as well, which is not like the Warriors of old. But Warriors did win the kicking department, so there's something there, but that was mainly because of Chanel Harris-Tavita. But yes, interesting. And even tackle efficiency, the Warriors were only at 83% overall, the whole team. So not good for this standard, not NRL standard, and disappointing. So who were the gun players for the Raiders? Well, Xavier Savage got 2 tries. He was up there. Corey Horsburgh, 123 metres, 3 offloads, 34 tackles. Outstanding game, not to be snoozed on. Fogarty, 517 metres. He just did what he needed to do. He didn't have to be the star. The winger for the Raiders, much to improve. Hudson Young had a good game. So did Zach Hoskins. Tapine had his usual great game, but he had to decide to go in with a shoulder charge, which on Mitchie Barnett, which will probably cost him a week or 2. Disappointing for the Raiders side of things, but yeah. If you want to say something bad about the Raiders, the only person I could say in this game that had a shocker, had a quiet game, that was Ethan Strange. Wasn't even in the QE, wasn't even in the conversation, was even out there, folks. If there was someone to really be disappointed with the Raiders, Ethan Strange was quiet, and Ethan Sanders will take his place if he continues to play like that. So he will need to bounce back from there. Yes, but 30 points to 8. They won it in the first half. They won a long way out. The Raiders, they were outstanding. But the Warriors, you could pull apart this with a fine-tuned comb. But there is some positives, folks. Even though I'm going to go through these negatives, there is positives. They have some good enough players to turn it around in 2 weeks' time. But let's rock and roll the Warriors. Yes, Roger was disappointing on the wing. He did the meters, but in terms of defence, he was lost at sea. Luckily, they didn't come down his way much, luckily. There's some work to be done there, but in terms of he has to be fullback, he's playing out of position. It's just madness. Charnock or Cox, they both got a swap, and it's got to happen next game. I doubt it's going to happen, but it should happen. And what this is, 43 missed tackles for the Warriors. Now, if they do this for the rest of the year, Andrew Webster will not have a job. I can put it out there right now. Andrew Webster, all the talk is over now. He's had his 2 years. He needs to deliver them back to the finals football. There's no mucking around. I'm not saying they got the best team in the comp. No, there's no question they haven't got the best team in the comp, but they got potential. And Luke Metcalf has potential, and he absolutely faltered. He was a deer in the headlights in this game. Absolutely did not take control of the game. And the question mark is, do they have 2 sixes out there? And the answer is yes. Can he develop? Well, he's 26 years old. He's not exactly a spring chicken, is he? He should have developed a lot of this game. I know they improve when they get older, but question marks whether he is the halfback going forward. But they are their 2 best players, in my opinion. At their best, Metcalf and Tamari Mata, they're both sixes. So someone's got to move. Maybe they've got to go to the 13 role. Do something. They need to do something. And I have a suggestion now, maybe going to 13. Maybe that's what needs to happen. They have Luke Metcalf and Tamari Mata at 7. I don't know. We will see how this goes, but they need to perform better next time. Otherwise, the bells are ringing for the head of Andrew Webster. No pun intended, but Andrew Webster needs to improve and get this team going. And no doubt in my mind, he is the caliber of coach that can do it. But the proof is in the pudding. We've had so many coaches like Stephen Cooney, they talk well and everything like that, but when it comes to actually on the field results, they falter. So he had one good year, one dud year. This is the question mark. There's not many injuries. There's a few injuries, but not star-studded injuries. This is a big season for Andrew Webster in his NRL career, that's for sure. But I had to say there are some positives out there, even though Luke Metcalf was not disappointing. Fisher Harris did his job, did what he normally does in the game, and people are going to say, well, he didn't do much. But that's what he always does in his games. He doesn't do much more than that. But yeah, just the question mark is defensively. Like, I was expecting defense better from the Warriors. It was absolute putrid defense. And having him and Mitch Barnett, supposed to be one of the best prop combinations in the competition, well, it did not look like it after round 1. But well, let's see if they turn it around. Aaron Clark, outstanding. Is he the answer at 13? We will see, but he had a great game, and he was probably the Warriors' best player, up there with the best anyway. Roger did his meters, but we need some more. Ali Lautit, he's still young, so I'll give him some time, but he was defensively carved up a few times as well. But he does have the attacking flair, which is potentially good, but they didn't score many points. So question marks all over the Warriors going on. But for Raiders fans out there, celebrate, be happy, because the Raiders did what they need to do. They delivered. Yes, well, there was another game of footy. If the Panthers and the Sharks, it lived up to the hype. But I wouldn't say it was an absolute outstanding game. I know the game was close, but Penrith looked in control for about 60 minutes of the game once they got the lead. Penrith just looked in control, and Cleary was just robotic, did his thing, just like Cooper Cronk did, but maybe at a better level. And they just continued to get on the win. He was master stroke in everything. He was outstanding. Will Kennedy, a big highlight, saving that 40-20. Could have been a career-defining part of the game, but the Panthers still were just too good in the end. But yeah, that was something Will Kennedy has done well. There's a lot of pressure on him, and there still will be pressure on them because they did not get the job done. Kyle Era getting 2 tries, impressive, very good. For Sharks fans, Fonua Blake did what he needed to do. Scored a try, ran for nearly 200 metres, tackles, offloads, breaking tackles, doing what he does best. Get excited, Sharks, he's the gun. But the difference in this game, and that's going to be the question going forward, Nico Hines was nowhere to be seen. There's clear shift that Braden Trindle was the kicker and the goal kicker. Well, Hines just does the running, but he needs to run more and be more direct and put more pressure on if they are going to beat Panthers in October. That's what they need to do. They need to work on it if they want to get to the big stage, because they've got all the other ingredients. Nico Hines and Will Kennedy. You can put Trindle in there as well, but those are the 2 key players that need to lift or they need to move on. I argue Nico Hines could be playing fullback and they need to find a halfback, which could be Atkinson next year, but is he a gun? Number 7? Probably not. So, but this is the question mark for Craig Fitzgibbon to get them to the next level is they got to get Hines or Will Kennedy on song. If they don't, they'll do the same as they've done every other year because Addin fonua Blake has brought a lot to the team and exciting stuff. But what about Penrith? They just continue to be the same. But Liam Martin did his thing. Isaiah Yeo does his thing. Nathan Cleary does what he does best. But you have to be impressed with Dane Laurie. To come on after 3 minutes and then play on the wing for the rest of the game, he was outstanding with a couple of tries. And will he be the Mr. Fix-It going forward all year? Or will Blaze Talangi come in? That's going to be the question mark. And with Blaze Talangi not in the team, they can only add strike to their team if they need to. But yes, Panthers continue to do what they do. And even without Brian Toho, I mean, they got to be the team to beat folks up with the Storm. We will see if the Sharks can get to their level during the season. Looking at the stats, pretty much even Stevens in terms of possession and completion rate was 78% for both teams. The Panthers went for a little bit more running meters and also just a bit more in terms of line breaks. But missed tackles a lot more from Penrith at 34, but they are the best at scrambling with the Sharks only 21, so that's pretty good going in this competition, but they still lost. So that just shows you the Sharks are doing every little thing right, apart from scoring those points to win the game. So that's the question mark. Who else played good for Penrith? Dylan Edwards does his usual around 200 metres. Probably light work for him sometimes. Nathan Cleary, 649 kicking metres, 19 tackles. The tackle bust. The try assist, outstanding. And all the back line ran for 150 metres or more for Penrith. So exciting stuff for you Penrith fans out there. So good run. Jesse Raymond went for 197 metres. 61 tackles from Blake Brayley. So there's a little bit, some excitement out there. But was Vegas good? Was it a success? Time will tell. Basically what Vegas is about the gambling dollar for a start. Can they get USA into rugby league and do it properly? Maybe got to have a USA team playing in the competition, whether it's NRL or... I know they got competitions now, but they got to be playing against better teams. They got to be playing the Samoas and that to get better. So if they can find a way to add USA into some sort of Pacific thing, that's where they need to head into if they're looking to grow the game as they are. So that is Rugby League. That is Barry Charles Footy Show for this episode. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck will be the fullback within a month. If he's not, Andrew Webster might be in trouble, unless he can turn it around and they win a few in a row. But on what I saw in that first game, it could be a long season for the Warriors, but let's hope not. Remember to like and subscribe, and let's hope for a turnaround for the Warriors in a couple weeks' time. But the footy is back, baby.